Kirby, just 2 days coming off of the game against Oregon. Just what have you thought about practice getting ready for the second week?
I thought we had one of our best practices of the year yesterday, and we had one of our worst practices of the year today. So, to be honest, I don't know where we are. I was really pleased with the way they approached yesterday. We had a lot of competitive periods and had great practice and got a lot of guys better. And then today it was not as enthusiastic. It wasn't to the standard of what we need. So we got another day tomorrow to get it better.
Yeah, Kirby, Kamari had a penalty on the hit the other day where he slammed the guy or whatever. Outside of the call itself, I mean, how do you as a coach address penalties like that where it obviously hurts the team, but you don't want to keep a guy from playing aggressive or anything like that?
I don't talk about it much. Just show the thing and show them a better way to do it, go about it, and move on.
Vlad's had a couple of carries throughout his career. Obviously, what he can do as a wide receiver, returned punts on Saturday, and he played quarterback in high school. How important is his versatility and what he's able to do to this team?
It helps tremendously. We have some other guys that can help in the similar ways he does. They just got to get caught up to speed and get healthy and learn what to do. But he's certainly a valuable asset. I think the biggest thing with Vlad is not overuse. He can run himself into the ground because he'll go as hard as he possibly can every day, and that's not a bad thing, but it can be a bad thing. So we just got to make sure we monitor it.
Kirby, back to the call on Kamari. Was it the right call?
I have no idea. I mean, I literally have not even thought about that call since the play, actually. So I don't get into judging officials. It obviously wasn't a critical call because of the outcome of the game, but that's one thing I need to stay in my lane on in terms of, I have a lot of respect for officiating, and we bring them in and meet with them, and they have a really hard job. So I don't think they're ever intentionally doing anything wrong.
Kirby, obviously a lot of quarterbacks go in the transfer portal these days. How hard is it to keep talented guys like Carson and Brock around when so many guys want to go right away?
I don't think it's hard. I mean, I think you be very fair and honest, and they have to make decisions based on what's best for them and what's best for the program, what's best for the team. I'm here to protect the University of Georgia. My job is to develop those young men. That's what we promised them to do. And Coach Munkin, our staff, I mean, there's not a lot of places you can go that you can play for a offensive coordinator that coach quarterbacks in the NFL, you coach receivers in the NFL. I mean, every kid wants to go to the NFL. So I've never had a scout come ask me how many plays or how many reps he got as freshman, sophomore, junior year. They want to know what the finished product is. So the end game is the goal, and if guys want to stay and be a part of that, be part of something special, then great.
Kirby, I want to ask you about one of the younger guys, Bear Alexander. Obviously, he missed spring. What have you seen from him as he's going through his first fall?
Continuing to grow. He's got to continue to grow in terms of understanding our defense. He had a shoulder surgery, and he's got to be more consistent in his approach to day-to-day work. He flashes, but then he has a play where he doesn't give a great effort, and it's very similar to every freshman. So every freshman's in a different situation because of our depth chart, but they're all similar. They're very inconsistent. There's not a freshman out there that's just been a model of consistency. That's not to be expected. What is to be expected is to give great effort, great toughness, and that's what we're trying to get with all our freshmen.
Kirby, concerning your young wideouts, I know that you had some good things to say about Dylan Belger in camp, but Denylin, Dylan, C.J. Smith, where are those guys at now that you've kind of gotten into the season, and where do they function with at practice? Scouts, or are they getting reps? How does that work for them?
Yeah, they do a little of both. All two of those guys were injured. So Denylin missed almost all of camp. C.J. Smith missed all of camp, and both of them have started to come on. I'm riding them really hard because I have high expectations for them, and they can help us. They each have really good attributes, and they're both really want to help our team. They're great young men. I mean, I'm talking about they do everything right off the field. They do what they're supposed to do. They work really hard. Dylan has gotten a lot of reps and should be able to help us. It's probably further along than those two only because he has not been injured. But CJ, you know, he hit some high numbers on GPS recently. We're trying to bring him back slowly because he's had some knee issues, and then Denylin has had a couple good practices. So we need to bring those guys along to get the depth we need to support our offense.
Yeah, Kirby, I guess following up on those receivers, how helpful do you think it has been for them to have guys like AD and Ladd who have gone through with some of them, coming in and having to earn that playing time? Ladd was on the scout team and things like that.
I think it helps them, but you know, our depth, they bypass that. You know, and AD and Ladd aren't like, you know, veteran guys. They're 1 year guys, and there really is very little upper leadership at that position. I mean, Marcus does a tremendous job leading that room. Kieras sets a great example. Dom's been away and back and away and back, so it's just it's a different kind of room in terms of the experience level. But I am excited about those young guys and what they can do if they learn the system.
Kirby, based on what you said about the practice being disappointing, what specifically was it that let you down today for yesterday?
Just energy, enthusiasm. Yesterday was great. I mean, yesterday was as good as we've had. Like I said, we're flying around, competing, did a lot of good-on-good drills. And then today, it kind of dragged from the beginning. It wasn't the tempo that I expect. And we talk about playing to a standard. You know, like there's a standard at Georgia, and you don't. The number one thing you do at our place is you go out on Tuesday and you practice really physical if you're going to be any good. And we tried to practice physical. We had some guys just didn't bring their own juice today, and they need to do that tomorrow.
Kirby, you haven't heard an update on CJ Washington since his spring injury. Haven't seen him out at practice. Where is he at coming back from that?
Yeah, it's not an injury that you can really rehab. You know, it's an injury that has to kind of heal itself, and we do periodic checks with him. And he's been here with us. He was here today, so we get to see CJ from time to time. It's really been a struggle for him because football meant so much for him and to him, and we still haven't given up hope that he can come back. But we're certainly going to take all the precautions necessary before we do bring him back.
On that same line, Coach, just to get an update on Chris Smith, and here the Nyland Green, you may have hurt himself a little bit.
Chris Smith,
Mm-hmm.
he's fine. Chris Smith's perfectly fine. He practiced all today. He's good. Nyland has a hamstring that's bothered him. It happened late in the game. He doesn't even know when, but his hamstring's hurting him, and he struggled today.
Yeah, Kirby, I guess just asking about practice. You mentioned it's part of the leader's job to get guys energetic and stuff. Is it frustrating that that's happening now at the season start, or are you kind of anticipating that's going to be a battle that y'all are going to have to wage throughout the season with all your losses?
I have no idea. I'm sure you'll think it's a message for me to wake them up. I'm just telling you the truth. That's all I come in here and do, give you truth. Truth is we didn't practice real good today, so I can make up 1,000 reasons why, but I don't know why. And I don't know what it's going to take tomorrow or the next day. I'm going to worry about today, and then I'm going to go out there tomorrow and worry about tomorrow.
Coach, I know Jess Sutherland is a part of your quality control staff. I know it was like 5 years ago he was the quarterback with Stanford. Is there any insight at all somebody like that can give to help you prepare?
Yeah, I mean, the film speaks louder than the coach. You know, I mean, you got the video, and you got a game, and you've got systems, and you know, we've played Stanford before, and years past, and so I know Coach Hatcher pretty well. So it's not like it's usually more personnel based, and the personnel is not the same. So, but yeah, Jess is smart and does a great job for us.
The guys that were rotating at the nickelback spot, how do you think they did, and how are you mixing and matching there?
We're always looking to find the best guys, the guys that give us the best opportunity, and a lot of it depends on how we're playing defensively. You know, we have weeks that we play zone, we have weeks we play man, we have weeks we blitz. You know, so each one of those guys is kind of a different nickel, and they have different attributes. So you try to put the guy that can do the best of all the attributes you need. And I thought Willard played well. You know, he's going to have to play bigger and play more physical because he's not a huge guy, but he's tough. He's hard to block, and he's smart. Poole did a good job in coverage, and he's also doubling up as a corner. And then Taki's working his way back. He hit his highest speed yesterday that he's hit since being back, and You know, we really need him to come back and help push Bullard and give us some relief there. So, but we certainly got to play good at that position.
Coach, when you have bad practice days, like you said, are there any kind of adjustments that you make the next time you guys practice to get everybody in the right mindset?
Not usually. I mean, we have certain things we have to do. We might change the order of it. We might change the who we do it against. We might change the tempo of it. But, you know, we challenged them really hard today, and some of them answered it, and some of them didn't. And we got to get more guys to answer the call.
Coach, we're gonna get to talk with Chad Chambliss here just a little bit. Kind of what's he been bringing to the team so far this year?
Consistency, toughness, everything a football coach wants. He does whatever they ask. He's the last guy off the field every day. He stays out there after extra. He's probably mad today because he's got media, because when I get up to my office, he's out there still hitting the sled. And he's one of the hardest workers I've ever been around. You know, he and Brock spent their freshman year staying out there after practice doing one-on-ones every day, and he just a tough competitor that you want in your program. And he's got to continue to improve and be able to make some plays and rush the passer, but he's a really solid run player for us. He does a good job.
Kirby, so sort of along those lines, we'll get a chance to talk to Kamari. How do you feel like he handled his first start and how he was able to play in that game?
He's very mature. He's very intelligent. He was dialed in. He sent me a text a couple nights before the game, said, "Coach, I'm really locked in." And I could see it in the meetings by the questions he asked. You know when somebody's ready to play because of the way they practice. He was very intentional about his practices. When you looked at him, his eyes were in the right spot. He asked the right questions. You know, Kamari's a kid you're going to have to just beat because he's not going to beat himself. And he's a great kid.
Let's take two more questions.
Kirby, with wide receivers or running backs, any skill guys, in terms of yards after the catch, how much of that can be, coached? How much of it is just the natural ability?
Say that again about the skill players with yards after the catch.
Yeah, I'm asking, how much a guy has the ability to make guys miss versus coaching them up to learn how to do that.
Yeah, I would definitely err on the side of ability to do that. You know, you can coach it, but something. I think the best guys I've ever seen do that, they were the best guys doing it in high school. So a coach might take credit for it, but they had an innate ability to do that. And usually straight line fast guys aren't as good at making a miss, and usually quicker than fast guys are better at making people miss. And we try to practice it a lot to put them in those situations because that's how you get explosive plays, right? You make people miss tackles. We've had some guys, like that. Isaiah McKenzie was certainly like that, but I don't know if we've had an elite one like that in a while in terms of just make you miss.
Did you learn anything about your own run defense the other day, or did how the game go mitigate how much you could learn?
Not as much as I learn every day in practice. We go against a really physical offensive line, and when we have really physical run periods that are scripted to be that way during camp and now, I think I learn a lot more then than maybe I do in games. Every game's different. How our team's going to attack us, and somebody eventually is going to. They're going to try to pry on that, and we're going to have to be able to stand up against it. But I don't know. We do have. Not as big as we were last year up front, but we still have big players considering you look at other teams, it's just hard to find enough big guys in the defensive line. We still have, 4 or 5 300-pounders, but it's something we've actually harped on this week is how do we play the run better and how we run the ball better, because I still don't think we're at our best there.
Thank you.